Good evening, Shrestha. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes and then we shall start today's live. We'll just wait for 2 more minutes before we start today's live. Hello, hello. What's the time? It's 2 past 8. We'll just start by 5 past 8. So we'll just wait for 2 to 3 more minutes and then we shall start. One more minute and then we shall start with our live session. Good evening, Dipanjan, Shubho Vijaya. I'm just waiting for 1 more minute before I shall start with the live today. Good evening, Snigdha. I think we can start now. It's 4 past 8. So, good evening, everyone, those who are watching me live right now and those who will be watching later on also. So, this month, as we discussed, we are going to discuss a few childhood disorders which are usually non curable. So, today's, if you have seen the poster, it says ADHD. So, ADHD, thank you, Snigdha, thank you very much. Yeah, Shubha Vijaya. So, ADHD, I will just start, because I've dealt with various ADHD cases. So, I'm just going to start with a very short case study of a person that I have worked with. So, there was this little boy whose age was around 7, 8 years. So, their parents brought them to me, and then the complaints were there were a lot of complaints coming from the school. So this boy was not listening to the teachers. He was not able to take down all the class notes, not interested in completing the homework. Then this boy, suddenly in the middle of the class, he used to get up from the bench and then move and roam around in the class, blurts out responses, does not think before responding, it's too upfront, and had some issues following instructions, and will never follow rules, things like this. So there were various issues like this. So these were the complaints with which the parents came to me. And then when the child was sitting, the child was constantly doing like this, and like this. He was not patient, he was not calm, and constantly they were doing like this, and some with a pen, with something they used to open, do something, and do weird faces, and constantly moving in the house or things like this. So I told that it is very important to get the child tested for ADHD. Now this is one person that I was talking about who was 7 years old. Vis-a-vis, there was another case where this person was 17 years old, and it was, the parents started considering it as an issue now, because it was always there. Now ADHD, as the name suggests, it is attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So there are basically two disorders in this. First is the attention deficit, they do not have the right amount of attention, and the second thing is hyperactive. So they're extremely hyper with their responses, they're full of energy, and they will do weird things that it will become a pain for the parents, for the teachers, for everybody, and they will just find the best way to deal with them is to keep them away, not in the class or things like this. So attention deficit hyperactive disorder was not even considered as a disorder until very recently, but now it is considered under DSM. Like DSM and ICD are the things that we use, are like the Bible for psychology, for organizing or for categorizing disorders. So ADHD is considered one such disorder that starts from the childhood. You can control the symptoms, but it is not 100% curable, ADHD. Now why it happens, what are the symptoms, everything we are going to discuss today, and not too much of technical terms, but a little bit of here and there, because the, what should I say, the range in which I see ADHD now is like every second child out of 5 children is suffering from ADHD. So the rate has increased. It can be due to environmental changes or dietary issues and things like that. But I will be talking a little bit of ADHD because ADHD treatment involves parents, teachers have to work hand in hand. It needs counseling, it needs occupational therapy, it needs medicines too. So unfortunately, whether I like it or not, but ADHD children have to be put on medication so that the brain becomes a little calm, and along with that occupational therapies are used. So I'll just the points that I noted down when I was thinking of this particular life. So what are the what are the symptoms that we can see in an ADHD child? They will be extremely hyperactive, exaggerated muscular activity, such as aimless or haphazard running. So they don't, you leave them on a, in a park, and they will just keep on running without any goal. They don't have a goal, but it's so much of energy that they will keep on moving here and there haphazardly. Even in schools they do that thing. In schools, in prayers, when you have to stand in a queue, or for any activity when the children are asked to stand in a queue, ADHD children will always break the rules. So they will move out of the queue because waiting, patience is something which they don't have. Next is they will fail to put close attention to details, and they will lead to careless mistakes. So while taking down notes, they will copy half homework, they will not have the full details. Even if it's 6, a little bit of if it's 6, they will write it as 7 or 8, because they don't have the time. Their brain cannot grasp that much of information and put it into the paper. That's one problem. Next is they have difficulty in keeping sustained attention. So for example, if you put an ADHD child into chess, which needs a lot of attention, they'll leave in between, they'll just go. They do not have that much of patience, that sustained attention. For reading, that's why these children have problems in completing homework, home tasks, because it needs a little bit of continued attention. They don't have that, their brain doesn't allow that. Okay. Next is they have difficulty in listening what is being said. So if the teacher or the parents are telling them something, they will just listen a little bit, and their attention will drift. They will not pay attention to what is happening or what not. Okay. They have difficulty in organizing tasks. So if you give them some kind of activities like puzzles or building blocks or things like that, they will be very poor with this, because organizing needs a little bit of calculation. Their brain does not have that power to do that. Next is they will avoid tasks that require strenuous activity. Like if it needs a lot of physical strain, if it is actually going to drain them off, they will leave that activity. They will not take so much of tension in their life. Okay. Now, because they are not so organized and they don't pay attention to details, there are chances that they can lose materials, lose stuffs in between in schools. Missing water bottle, missing telephone. I'm sorry, not telephone. Missing water bottle, missing tiffin box, missing pencils, erasers. It's not that they do it willingly; they just lose it. They just lose things like this because they don't know where they have kept. And if you ask them for 2 or 3 times, they get very agitated because same type of instruction, repeated things is not something which they like. Next is they get easily distracted. I was like that. Okay. So, but now you have a little bit of control over how you are going to, uh, you know, put your brain into a certain stream of attention. Although certain part of it is still there, like getting easily distracted by extraneous activity. So if let's say I am doing something, suddenly there is something happening outside, I will completely lose attention and I'll get involved in that. We also lose our attention when suddenly there is a blaring noise or things like that, but we can bring our attention back. ADHD child cannot bring their attention back. Next is they will forget their day schedule. They will forget what they have to bring, what they have to do. They will not remember things like that. Next is, this is about the attention deficit part that I was talking about. Next comes the hyperactive part, when they are extremely active. What are the symptoms of these people? So as one thing I have said, they will constantly fidget. If you give them a pen, constantly like this pen, they will put the cap and then put it back, things like this, and constantly doing something with their hand because they just don't know what to do with so much of energy bubbling inside them. They don't know. I face similar situations till now. How do I opt for help? Yeah, so we'll talk about that also. Please stay connected. You will get your answers. So these are the symptoms. Now what else? They will leave their desk or seat in the classroom in inappropriate times. So in the middle of the class, suddenly they start walking. Suddenly they start, they will just want to be the showstopper, break, capture everyone's attention, break certain sequence. That's what they do. Not that they do willingly, but that's how their brain is forcing them to act like, right? They have problems identifying what are the problems, what can be the solution. So things like this, and they also blurts out answers inappropriately. A child does not want to socialize, they are on their own. Does this mean anything? Is it something serious? If a child doesn't want to socialize, yes, it is a little bit of seriousness is there, because uh, it is not ADHD, definitely it's not a disorder also, but sometimes a child does not want to socialize, either from the very beginning, when they can suffer from social anxiety, when they don't know how to respond, and when they suffer from self-worth, self-confidence issues, or they have suddenly stopped socializing because something has happened in the social event which made them get inside their cocoon. So if you get an answer between the two, which one it is, then accordingly things can be taken care of. Because many child have phobias related to school, related going to social function, can be because of social self confidence, that can be handled. But if something has happened in some of the social situation after which they have stopped going somewhere, then it can be because of certain events which needs to be dealt. Otherwise, this, if it is not addressed from beginning only, then it's a self confidence issue. Then many children have problems socializing with people they don't like also. Now you are saying that from beginning only, then the next question that you need to check, or next information you need to check is it only at specific social situation or everywhere? Because school is also a social institution. Does the child have problem going to the school and mixing with their peers? Then if that is also the case, then it can be a self-worth or self-confidence issue. Otherwise, if it's specific social situation, then again you need to dig in that where exactly the child doesn't feel like or does avoid going, because there are many things that the child cannot express in words. So that something needs to be taken care of. So coming back to the ADHD part, uh, they will blurt out answer, like before even you complete the question, they will blurt out answer, mostly in school. Yeah, school phobia is very common in many children. So slowly and steadily, there can be self confidence issues, it can be many other issues. So yes, it is important that the child is being spoken to, the child, not directly spoken, but through different kind of therapies, like it can be through play therapy or art therapy, that the child can be exposed to, and so that the child understands that it is safe to mix in the social situation. Or sometimes it, if there is self confidence issue, then also it can be taken care of. So mostly in children it can be a self confidence issue, that they will not be able to take care of themselves, or it has been ingrained in them that tumse kuch na ho payega. So those things needs to be dealt with. So maybe, yeah, not, if I won't say too serious, but it's important to address the issue rather than keeping it, because then it can pile up and become a major one. Okay, all right. Now what I was saying is blurting out answer. Even before you end the question, they will blurt out answer because they don't have the patience. Jaldi bolo, jaldi bolo. That is the kind of energy they work with. Okay, they have problems maintaining order. If you ask them line, they cannot maintain because they will not be able to address that. And similarly, taking turns, left, right, directions, they have problems. Itna attention, patience they don't have. Okay, and one of the major problem with ADHD children is they will butt into everybody else's conversation. So if you and I are talking and you have an ADHD child, they will come in, they will distract, they will do everything because they want the attention on themselves. So that is what they do. They are very hyperactive. So some children can be more towards hyperactive, some children can be attention deficit, some can be a mix of both. Now why does it happen? Let's look at the causes. Okay, so one of the major causes behind ADHD can be a medical disorder than a pure behavioral problem. As I was saying, that why do we need medicines? Because it has been found that the lithium in our brain, the lithium proportion is a little distorted in case of ADHD children. So lithium tablets are being given to them so that is kept in check, along with occupational therapy. Occupational therapy, what is that? I will talk about that. Along with occupational therapy, along with counseling, along with anything else, peer counseling, lithium is something which is given to keep that abnormality in check. Okay, sometimes I have also seen doctors giving them sleeping pills, sleeping medications and all, so that they can sleep at night properly. But somehow I feel that can be taken care of through counseling and therapy. For that you don't need medication, but you definitely need medication for ADHD aspect, only the ADHD aspect. The neurological causes behind ADHD may be because of the structure of the brain, chemical imbalances, some functions of the brain, or combination of these and other factors. So their brain structure is a little different than ours in case of ADHD. So it's not completely behavioral issue, right? Lithium imbalance I already spoke about. Another aspect can be poor diet. A lot of additive artificial colors can also lead to lithium imbalance in our food. Sometimes parenting can also be an issue. The kind of pathological family environment can also be an issue. Hyperactivity in children may be produced by dietary factors such as food colorings, food additive, food adulteration, preservatives, etc. Due to such food, hyperactivity increases because of the extra energy consumed by the children in the form of chocolate candy, fast food, etc. Okay. Now, what can be the psychological causes behind this? It can be temperament and learning factors in addition to family pathogens, parental problems leading to hyperactivity in children. Sometimes what the mother has gone through during the pregnancy period is also very important. If the mother is constantly stressed, this is primarily answering Chandrani's question, if the mother is constantly stressed, if the environment was not supportive, then the child is also taking in that stress during the prenatal period, and when they are born they have certain complexities in their behavior, because the child starts learning language from the second month of conception. So they will start understanding a little bit of the language. That's why the mothers keep on speaking to their child. They will make them listen to music, and very interestingly, when the child is born, when you make them listen to the same music, they will calm down because they remember, their memory is already developed. Similarly, if a mother is constantly under stress, I have seen many mothers who have been subjected to domestic violence during pregnancy period, and also certain mothers who have been got very malnutrition, was suffering from malnutrition, things like this, they have actually, their children had a lot of disorders when they grew up. So it starts way before that. So it is very important that when you understand that what you have gone through, it is important to take actions on your children from very beginning, because the children will start showing those impact when they grow up, when they are about 18 months age or so. You will start, one of the major this thing that you will see, if a child was constantly under stress, language development is an issue with the children. They will not like to speak, they will just speak in ishara. So these things are very important, the prenatal, postnatal, delivery time trauma or things like this, everything is very important when it comes to children or childhood disorders. Okay, so next comes is the techniques, how to deal with it. So one person asked, I think the solo wanderer, okay, so one person asked that, so I would answer that, what are the different techniques of handling an ADHD child. First things first is, as I said, medication is important. You cannot really let go of the medication, only the ADHD medication, which is primarily lithium medicines, to keep the lithium component in place. Next is occupational therapy. Now, what is occupational therapy? Occupational therapy is primarily where the children is taught social skills in a different way. So, how to, it is also common for autistic children. So, any childhood disorder that you have, people are exposed to occupational therapy. So, various therapy, like how to learn, how to behave, that is done through different techniques like play therapy, art therapy, things like this. And that's how the child builds onto the skills. The third and the most important technique for an ADHD child is the parents and the teacher needs to work hand in hand. There are certain forms available. I'm not sure if it's available on the internet, but there are various forms available which the child, which is given to the teacher, which is also given to the child, which is also given to the parents. So all of them are constantly monitoring that. That monitoring needs to be done on a daily basis. So if have you done this, so making the child accountable for their own behavior is extremely important. And reward and punishment method. Punishment not as in stand in the corner and do things like this, no. Reward, when they are doing good, they should be rewarded, because that is a positive conditioning that helps them to learn the positive behavior. That's how every children work. So if a child is constantly nagging and you keep on giving them things, the child will learn, if I nag, I will get the thing. So if a child is nagging and you ignore them and do not respond to them, so slowly the child would learn that this is not the right behavior. So this reward and punishment thing is something which helps a child to learn and unlearn a behavior. Okay. Also, parental temperament is very important here. You cannot lose temperament on the child, because your child is anyways hyperactive. If you also lose temperament, the child will pick it up very easily from you, and they will also start throwing tantrums on you, and you will lose it. So it's like a vicious cycle that goes on and on and on. Making the child do certain peace, calming down techniques like yoga, like meditation, like things that needs a lot of patience, painting, like jigsaw puzzles, but making it interesting, like you also taking part in it, not like tum ye kar lo main thoda TV dekh leti hu, not that kind of an attitude. But don't make the child feel that I have a disorder. That will actually impact their self-worth and self-confidence. Just tell the child that there are things that we have to do it in a different way, because not everybody will learn it in the same way. So how you package your statement and your actions are extremely important when it works with children. And you can make the child do anything, it depends on how you package it. If you package the very best of the things in the worst way, they will not take it, especially an ADHD child. Next is parental counseling is also important along with children, because how to behave, how to fill in the forms, how to constantly be in touch with the school, that is also very important. And if your child has been diagnosed with ADHD, it's important that the teachers are aware of it, because not every teacher has the capability of handling an ADHD child. And for God's sake, we have to stop calling ADHD children a special child, because every child is special and every child is unique. It's just that they have certain conditions, we need to deal with the condition. So if we stop boxing the children as separate, I think it is easier for a child to develop a child to work with their problems or issues that they have. And along with this, there is another thing that I would like to talk about is it's very important to let certain groups of people, so like if somebody who is going through an ADHD issue, they will be able to, like, the parents can gel with each other, that how are you taking care of your ADHD child, I will also do this, so what is working, what's not working. So that kind of social networking is extremely important when it comes to children. But whatever you do, it is very important that it is important to remember you have to find out every children has some areas of interest. Use that as the carrot, and that is how you need to get on with it. Sometimes now the children have already grown up and now they are realizing they have ADHD. So you can still consult a psychiatrist and get your medication started. Understand it should be only lithium medication. You really don't need any other medication. I don't know, they give you thousands of other medications, but honestly you don't need anything apart from lithium. But along with that, you practice things like yoga, meditation, certain kind of mindfulness technique, putting into art, reading books or things like that, or mixing with people, and constantly practicing delayed gratification. Now what is delayed gratification? I want to eat chocolate, I will eat 5 minutes later, ओके, और 5 मिनट बाद खा लेते हैं, और ठीक है, और 10 मिनट बाद खा लेंगे. What you are doing is you are what you exactly want right now, you are delaying the response. So slowly the brain will get altered, rewired in a way that the needs starts falling. So the demand supply curve is somewhere maintained in that case. So this delayed gratification is something which you can do with any addiction or any kind of issues where the child is extremely, no, I want it right now. So this is pretty much of ADHD. It is difficult to deal with ADHD children, I know that, because they are extremely hyperactive, they will not listen to you. But as parents, we have to be very understanding, we have to work in tandem with the schools, and make your child feel that they have a disorder, because half of the battle will be won there. And use these techniques, slowly you will be able to arrest the symptoms as much as possible. It is not 100% curable, but you will be able to lead a normal life with ADHD. There is no problem in that. Just that the earliest the intervention, the easier it is for the child to cope. All right. So I think this, I hope it was helpful for all of you. So if people are, when you watch it live, if you have any other questions, you put in your questions in the video, I will be happy to answer all of that, right? So if you see any ADHD children, or if you see any children with such symptoms, please ask their parents to get them tested for ADHD and start the intervention as soon as possible, because otherwise it becomes too late for making any kind of changes in the child's techniques. All right, thank you everyone. We'll have our next live coming up this Monday, that too on Facebook with Music Heals. So till then, everyone, take care of yourself and take care of the children around you. Thank you very much.